So hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I'd do a little talk on sort of accommodation and just sort of budgeting at uni and sort of the living cost type of video to help you guys if you are going to be going to uni in September, or if you're already at uni and just want some tips of advice. But obviously I'm not probably the best person to ask because I don't know, I'm only in my first year. But what I wanted to start with was accommodation. Sorry, I've just got a few pointers written down. And I wanted to start with this because I think it's really important to know like how much, whether your parents will be paying that out of your out of their bank, or you have it in your own bank and you'll be paying it out as like a direct payment. But like when your student finance comes in, you have to pay every sort of 3 months your accommodation costs, and some people get more loans, some people get bigger loans than others, so it is really hard to juggle that with other things. Because say your parents earn a lot, well mine dad earned quite a lot of income, and so I got a really low amount of like student finance given to me, and that really changed my university sort of experience, because I didn't have like all of this where I had to budget myself. I had to rely on my parents, and my parents did give me income each week, because obviously it wouldn't be sufficient for me to afford everything like food and things if I wasn't given that. So I am really grateful I did get money, but some people have to go without even if their parents earn a lot, because some parents aren't willing to support their child. So I do think it is really frustrating for some people about their money situations, but I won't really go into detail with that because I don't know, it's just how you manage your money. Like some people obviously they would like to go out but they can't as much as other people, or they might not be able to do things their friends are doing because they don't have that extra money, they don't have that extra income. If you're disabled or you have learning impairments, you can have separate bursaries and all things to help support you. But just lower income families, the child will get more money than their accommodation, then they sort of need to afford their accommodation. So yeah, they will have that extra. But obviously when you start working in your job, you do have to pay it off. So it's like, what do I do? Do I want more money when I'm at uni, or do I want stuff paid off? But some people obviously don't pay it off for the rest of their life. I may never do that anyway. So yeah, it is a tricky one. You do have to like clean your accommodation yourself. Obviously there's all cleaning things like hoovers and stuff, but maintenance people are always on hand at the uni, and you can always ring them up if you have any problems or concerns regarding your accommodation. And I have found accommodation services quite useful and quick, so if you are worried about accommodation, I wouldn't worry about that. In terms of like choosing accommodation, I would just say just go for what you like. And also in my accommodation, the ceilings are really high, so even though the rooms aren't like massive, no uni rooms are massive, it still feels like you're in a bigger space than you are, and the windows are huge too. So that's what I really like about mine. It's nice and light and airy, the sunlight comes in, and in the winter the radiators are really like good quality and they heated up the room really quick. So yeah, I would look out for things like that, because it is an older building, but sometimes universities are built that are built newer, they do have like worse quality like heating and flooring and stuff like that, just because they can't be bothered to spend the money, to be honest. I don't really know. So next I am going to move on to food shops. So I would say I because I haven't been living at uni, I'll get into that later. I've only been going to the shop for a few things, so spending like £7, £8 on things just if I go for like a weekend, if I don't need very much. But I would say when I was living there from like September to December, I was spending about probably £20 to get all the stuff for like the week I needed, like, because I would buy like fresh fruit and veg and stuff, but also then you have stuff in your cupboards that you can just use up for main meals a lot of the time, and obviously it's only buying for one, but that is the hardest thing about being a uni student, buying for one, because a lot of things, say you get like fish cakes or a chicken kebab, I don't know, something you want to eat, they always come in packs of 2s, and then you either want to freeze that or sometimes you don't want to freeze it, and then you have to eat it like really soon within the next like day or two, which that's the most annoying thing, but you just learn to do it that way really. And when you open things, like, always put in cling film around it and stuff just to keep it fresh. But the worst thing I think is bread, because even if you buy like a small loaf, you get through it really quick and then you're like, I have to go to the shop again, and if you buy a big one you can't eat it quick enough. So that's the annoying thing, that's why I've sort of stopped buying bread. And yeah, I don't really buy bread that much anymore just because of that reason. But it is better for me not to have too much bread, so that's a good thing. And that's all for food really. But I would say you do learn like simple like meals and quick meals. Some people don't want to, and that's fine, but I took loads of recipe books to uni and I haven't used any of them. If I want to make something, I just look it up on my phone or just do what I think, to be honest. So I don't think buying like student meal books as such is very helpful. And yeah, you can eat really healthy for cheap. I don't know why people say it's more expensive, because frozen stuff's just as much, I think anyway, so yeah, I don't think it alters that. But you definitely do have more like takeaways and stuff, especially when I like started in like freshers and stuff, because people sort of say like you're tempted by other people, like when you're flatmates or some other people in another flat say, hey, should we go to Nando's, should we go to McDonald's, you're like, yeah, okay, but then you wouldn't realistically do that at home, so it's actually does make you put on weight. I did put on weight like when I first went to uni, but now I've lost it a bit, so that's all okay. And then I'll get on to clothing. So I'll come back to me like with alcohol and nights out and stuff. And so clothing, so in terms of clothing, I mean I haven't actually been able to like do things like, because I haven't been having a monthly income, I haven't been able to like order clothes off the internet, which I do sometimes do, and it is sort of my guilty pleasure. It's what keeps me sort of sane. But I haven't been able to do that just because of the money side of it. The money is tight, so you can't buy as many clothes at uni. So what I would say is maybe work over summer and just like buy some clothes, like going out clothes, and then you're sort of stocked up, because there is not really the extra money for buying clothes all the time, unless you obviously have that income and job, where I didn't. Only in the holidays I worked at Tesco, so there wasn't that much income for me. And that brings me on to jobs. So what I would say is I did try and become like a student ambassador, but it wasn't the right time, so I'm going to try and do that again. And in second year, when I go back in September, I am going to try and do bank working as a nurse, because that is my degree. If you didn't know, I'm doing nursing. So I do want to do some like bank working, as in the healthcare assistant shifts and stuff, just to earn that extra money. And it is quite well paid on like Sundays if you do bank shifts. So I do want to do that, but in first year I just haven't really, it's not that I haven't been bothered, I could have made more effort to have the job alongside doing my studies, but I just wanted to settle into uni, get in the rhythm of it, and just be confident there, rather than worrying about being at a job every Saturday contracted or something, because often 0-hour contracts are really hard to find and they're not that good money. So that's why I wanted to leave a job this year. But I do definitely want to get one in second year and maybe third year if I'm not too busy. So yeah, that's the plan. And laundry. So laundry costs, I think it's like £1.30 for a tumble dry and £2 something for just one wash. So I was consistently doing washing. I did bring it home a few times for my mum just to put in if it was like a bag. Sometimes I brought quite a lot. But yeah, it is quite a lot of go, so you do have to be like vigilant of what you're actually putting in the machine. And I wasn't someone who put my bed sheets in separately from my clothes. I just put them in all together, and I don't think it makes any difference to the sort of quality of the wash or anything. But obviously don't mix colours and whites and stuff like that. But I'm sure you'll learn how to use a machine pretty quick if you don't know already. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just does get expensive if you're doing it week after week, obviously. So uni books. So I didn't actually have to buy any books. We got we just get them out the library as and when we need them for assignments, coursework, like exam prep, everything like that. You just take them out, loan them, and then take them back. So I didn't buy any books for my course. I know some people that did, but they didn't really use them that much. So unless you're advised to, I wouldn't. I would just get them out the library, because it saves money, it saves everything really. And I was actually going to mention uniform for placement. So if you're a uni student doing nursing, you go on 2 placements in first year. And I was on community for the first one, so I was just wearing ordinary clothes. In the second one I'm doing now, I am wearing a uniform because I'm in hospital, which is really exciting, and I'm really loving it there. And I wear tights and placement shoes, like black leather lace-ups, and I wear it with my uniform. And yeah, you have to make sure it's washed correctly on a certain wash and ironed and stuff. But I was just going to mention that that was actually free. You didn't have to pay for that. But the sizings were awful, so we had to like go back multiple times to get our right size. They didn't have it in stock, so that was a nightmare back in the early months of the year. What I was going to mention after books was stationery. So I didn't have to do anything different from GCSEs, A-levels, college courses. You just buy the stationery you think you'll need. I would say flashcards are useful for when you're revising, for when I was revising for my biology exam. I haven't written as much in lectures and stuff. It's more like listening and taking it on and then practicing it in practice and just reflecting upon yourself and sort of presentation wise, stuff like that. We haven't really done loads of writing down. Just in lectures, obviously, sometimes you do write pages and pages, but not as much as like I used to get like a writer's bump here when I was doing my GCSEs and college coursework, just because I wrote so much and it was just continuous day after day. But at uni you do seminars, lectures, skills sessions, and it's not loads and loads of writing. And also so you don't need all the supplies like pens, paper, booklets, multiple things, highlighters. You don't need all that because you're not using it constantly, only when you're revising. And lastly, I'm going to talk about nights out. So basically when it comes to alcohol, you really need to like think about like what you actually want to spend, because you can spend ridiculous amounts on alcohol and it is quite unhealthy to do that, obviously. So maybe just like buy stuff as and when you need it. Don't buy like 2 or 3 bottles of stuff, because otherwise you're going to be tempted to just, if you take it back to your flat or kitchen, you're going to be tempted just to drink it all that night you're going out, and it's not actually going to be beneficial for you because you're going to get obviously so drunk. So I would say just buy alcohol as and when you need it, and just buy sort of like one bottle of vodka and like whatever your mixer is. Don't buy like 4 different types, otherwise you will probably drink it in that night and you are wasting a lot of money that you could be spending on your night out. But in terms of nights out, it's been really good in Bristol, and yeah, so I would say that the cities are really good for nights out if you are going to a city for uni, and obviously towns are too, they're just on a sort of smaller scale. And yeah, that's about it, I think. And just overall budgeting, it is really hard, but just knowing what you want to spend your money on and like dividing up different things of what you want to save and what you don't want to, then that's really good. And also if you need some extra money, it's always good to like sell stuff you don't want before you go to uni, so you have that extra bit of money, because September was probably the most expensive with the freshers going out like night after night. September, October, and then like it dies down a bit in November and December. The rest of that is just frequent sort of nights out, but it is quite, if you do want to go out and have a good time and meet people, then it is expensive in September as soon as you go to uni. So I would say have a bit of money available. So yeah, and that's about it, I think. But what I was going to mention before I end the video as well is I am at home for this placement, and I have been for last placement, just because of the way they place me. So that means that I have not been having to buy the food, buy laundry tablets, do all this stuff, be that independent person I was from September to sort of December, January time, because I have been living in my house. So yeah, I would say it is a bit different for me because I haven't had that full year of experiencing what uni life is like. But anyhow, I did have quite a while, and I do go back in between, so a lot of weekends I spend there, so I know what it is like. So yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this video and it helps some of you. If you were wondering a few things about living costs, accommodation, and sort of budgeting when you're in uni as a first year student. I'll do another updated version of this in second year, and yeah, I really hope you enjoyed. Bye!